Sir, could you tell me something about these cars?
Sure.
Can I video you?
Sure.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So these vehicles were mostly donated by the same person. They range from 1905 to 1949, 59 is our oldest one. Now these two cars, if you look here, there's the horse carriage is the first one.
Okay.
And the car is the second one. Those are both made by McLaughlin, which was a Canadian company. And he started out making axes, then he started making wagons. And when he had sons, they convinced him to start building automobiles. Like a lot of people during that time, he figured that automobiles would not catch on and that they would always continue to have horse and buggy, so he didn't build any. But his sons had a ride with Mr. Buick and they started building these.
Wow, that's great. So what is this contribution of the Indian here when I see that flag here?
The flag for the country?
Yeah, flag for the country.
The reason for that is we just opened a display called the Colonists Car, which talks about the theme of immigration. So at this part of the park, we have different displays to talk about different people from different countries immigrating to Canada.
Okay. I see, so that's the whole idea.
Yes. This is separate from the car museum itself, although it's a little bit related.
Okay. Could you also tell me one thing? I find that there are a lot of wooden wheels in these cars,
Yes,
and then
of
there's
course.
steel wheels.
Yes.
So
So the wooden wheels are earlier. The wooden wheels come from the carriage. If you looked at the one on the end, do you remember the wooden wheels?
Yeah.
So when cars first started, what they would do is they would take a carriage, take the horse off the front, and put an engine under the seat.
I see.
And so the very first cars, they called them horseless carriages because it was exactly like that.
Perfect.
And it would look very funny if you were used to seeing horse on the front to see it going by,
Right.
like a sort of like a self-driving shopping cart.
Right.
So the design of the automobile started from the carriages. So wooden wheels were used on the carriages, and they started those with the cars.
And how about these gas stations, like when they had gas?
Well, the first stationary pump like this, they called them curbside, came out in 1905, and these were designed after the automobile started. Oil companies always had gasoline as a byproduct of getting the oil out of the ground, but they didn't have anything to do with it, so sometimes they would try and pedal it off or they would just burn it off. But when cars came out and they were using that, they decided that they would start to go into the gas companies. So then the gas pumps were invented. And that saved you the trouble of carrying a bucket from the station.
That is
with
true,
gasoline
yes, a huge
and pouring it into a funnel,
Yep.
filtering it yourself into your car, which was usually under the seat.
Yeah.
So if you spill it, it will smell like gas.
I find these two cars very interesting. Could you tell me something about these two cars? They are.
Well, these two cars are higher-end cars. There were three companies that were owned by Cord. This one is Cord, that one is Auburn, and the most expensive one was Duesenberg. So this one is a 1931 L29 Cord, and one of the unique features is it was the only car at that time that had front-wheel drive.
I see.
All the rest are rear-wheel drive.
Wow. Could you? Which are the other? Yeah. What about this car?
And this one is an Auburn.
Auburn. Okay.
Both of them convertible, I believe.
Okay. Oh yeah, both of them convertible. Yes. Which are the other interesting cars which we should look into in this museum?
Well, there's a really interesting one downstairs. They have about 30 more cars downstairs. And there's one that hasn't been restored, but it was driven in the year 2000 down the old Route 66. And they'll show you behind that car and everything.
I see.
Yes.
How about that one which is right there in this
That
corner?
one? That's a Pontiac station wagon.
Station wagon.
Yes, that one's 1956.
Can I have your name, please?
Michael.
Michael, thanks a lot for all the information.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you.